What happens when God calls someone to step into the unknown? What happens when a single act of faith becomes the beginning of a promise that will bless the whole world? Hello storytellers, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we follow the journey of a man whose faith shaped history itself. This is the story of Abraham. Long ago, in the land of Mesopotamia, lived a man named Abram. He lived among his family, his relatives, and everything familiar. Life was stable, predictable, comfortable, but God had a far greater plan. One day, the voice of the Lord came to Abram with a calling that would change his destiny forever. God said, "Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you." It was a command, with no map, no timeline, and no clear destination. Yet it came with a breathtaking promise. "I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. Your name will be great, and all nations of the earth will be blessed through you." Abram did not argue. He did not hesitate. He obeyed. At 75 years old, he gathered his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, their possessions, and their servants, and he walked away from everything he had ever known. Through deserts, rocky paths, and foreign lands, Abram traveled with nothing but God's word to guide him. Wherever he went, he built altars, reminders that God was with him, even when the road was uncertain. But there was one promise that seemed impossible. God said he would make Abram a great nation. Yet Abram and Sarai had no children. Years passed, hope faded. Their hair grew gray. Their bodies grew old. Still, God repeated his promise. He told Abram to look up at the night sky, filled with thousands of shining stars. "Count them," God said, "if you can. So shall your offspring be." And Abram believed. He held on to that promise, even when the evidence around him said it could never happen. Then, something miraculous took place. God changed Abram's name to Abraham, meaning father of many nations, and Sarai's name to Sarah, meaning princess. And in their old age, far beyond human possibility, Sarah felt life growing within her. A child, a miracle, a fulfillment. When she gave birth, they named the boy Isaac, meaning laughter. For Sarah laughed when God said she would bear a child in her 90s, and now she laughed with joy. Isaac was the child of promise, the proof that nothing is too hard for the Lord. But then came the greatest test of Abraham's faith. One day, God spoke again. "Abraham, here I am." Abraham answered. Then the command came, a command that pierced the heart. "Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and offer him as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you." Abraham did not understand. How could the promise live if Isaac died? How could a great nation come if the child of promise was taken away? Yet Abraham obeyed. With trembling hands but unwavering faith, he journeyed to the mountain with Isaac beside him. For 3 days they walked together. On the third day, the mountain stood before them, the place of sacrifice. Abraham built an altar, arranged the wood, and bound his son. Isaac, confused but trusting, allowed himself to be placed upon the altar. Then Abraham raised the knife, and in that moment, heaven intervened. A voice called out, urgent and powerful, "Abraham, Abraham, do not lay your hand on the boy. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me." Abraham looked up, and there, caught in a thicket, was a ram. God had provided the sacrifice. Isaac was spared, and on that mountain, Abraham named the place, "The Lord will provide." God then affirmed his covenant once more. "Through your offspring, all nations of the earth will be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice." And from Abraham's line came Isaac, and from Isaac came Jacob, and many generations later came the ultimate blessing, Jesus Christ. And that is the story of Abraham, a man who walked away from everything to walk with God, a man whose faith became the foundation of nations. And from this story, we learn a powerful truth. Faith is not believing because everything makes sense. Faith is trusting God when nothing makes sense. Abraham obeyed when the future was uncertain, and God turned his obedience into a blessing that reached the entire world. When you trust God fully, even in your hardest moments, He can turn your sacrifice into a miracle, your obedience into a legacy, and your faith into a blessing for generations. Thank you for joining us for this story. If this strengthened your faith today, please like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you never miss an update.